scuba diver found? A chest. I wonder what's inside. Maybe ancient gold coins. That's Dietrich Brandis's chest. The first Inspector General of Forests of India, also commonly known as the father of tropical forestry. Look, his name is engraved on the chest. This is the chest he lost when the boat carrying it drowned on its way from Calcutta to Rangoon. It contains his herbarium and botany books. Actually, it was a turning point in his life as it made him change his focus from botany to forestry. Dietrich Brandis was born in Bonn, Germany, and worked as a lecturer of botany. He joined the British service in 1856 as the superintendent of the teak forests in eastern Burma. During the British rule in India, due to the demand for trees for railways and other requirements of timber by the British, Indian forests were getting depleted. The British were particularly worried about the use of forest produce by the local people and the unregulated felling of trees by traders. To conserve the forests, by 1864, the British felt the need of an organized forest department with a complete administration of the forests in India. They invited Dietrich Brandis for advice and to organize the administration of the forests in India. He was appointed the first Inspector General of Forests in India. Brandis formulated new forest rules and helped establish research and training institutions. He set up the Indian Forest Service in 1864 and helped formulate the Indian Forest Act of 1865. To help spread the study of forestry, Brandis founded the Imperial Forest Research Institute at Dehradun in 1906. He introduced and started the practice of scientific forestry or commercial forestry in India. Let's understand what scientific forestry means and how it was practiced. Scientific forestry is the practice of cutting down all the trees in a forest and replacing them with one single species of tree that is planted in straight rows. This planting of one type of tree in straight rows is also known as a plantation. The Indian Forest Act was enacted in 1865 and was amended twice in 1878 and 1927. The Forest Act Amendment of 1878 provided for the division of forests into three categories. Reserved forests were forests completely under reservation or the protection of the government.
Ma'am,
Yes. Yes, you have a query. You can ask your question.
ma'am, we can't hear you.
I know because it is because of the peak connection. Now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we
ma'am.
can hear you now.
Yeah, there's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
connection problem. I have again got connected. Now I'm going to play the next video. Okay, I hope you were able to watch that video on it was just a recap of what we have done in section 2. Let me quickly play the second video for all of you. Are you there with me, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Ma'am. All right, now I'll play this second video.
That the British, with the help of a German expert, Dietrich Brandis, formulated the Indian Forest Act of 1865 to control the use of forests by local people? After the act,
Is the video audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay.
Ma'am.
most of the basic
Ma'am,
means
the
of
video is
livelihood of the forest-dwelling tribes were banned by the British. Let's see what happened. As we know, the forest tribes were largely dependent on the forest for their livelihoods. Villagers thought a good forest was one that provided them with their daily needs, such as fuel, fodder, and leaves. However, the British thought differently. They felt a good forest was one that provided timber for building ships and railways. For this purpose, the British passed the Indian Forest Act, which completely devastated the lives of villagers. The daily practices of villagers, such as cutting wood, grazing cattle, collecting fruits and roots, and fishing, were banned and made illegal. Forest-dwelling tribes largely depended on hunting small animals like deer, rabbit, and partridge for food. The British also imposed a ban on the hunting of small animals. However, they encouraged the sport of hunting of wild and dangerous animals like the elephant, lion, and tiger by giving rewards. In fact, if anyone was caught hunting illegally, they were severely punished for poaching. Even shifting cultivation, which had been practiced for several generations by the forest tribes, was banned. Shifting, or swidden cultivation, was an agricultural system in which plots of the forest are cultivated in rotation. Such plots are cultivated for a couple of years and then abandoned for the forest to grow back. The forest tribes largely depended on it. However, the British regarded this practice as harmful to the forests. They felt the land became useless for growing timber, led to forest fires, and also resulted in soil erosion. Furthermore, it was difficult for the government to calculate taxes. Thus, the British banned shifting cultivation. The Indian Forest Act snatched away the means of livelihood of many of the nomadic and pastoral tribes. They were left with only two options: either give in and change their occupation, or take the stronger path and rebel. Some of them changed their occupation and were forced to work in tea and coffee plantations, mines, and factories at low wages, bad working conditions, and under strict government supervision. A few others stood up against the tyranny of the British, which led to many rebellions in the forests of India. While the Indian Forest Act was passed as a boon to the British, it proved to be a bane for the forest dwellers.
So as you can see, children, we in the previous sections on the rise of commercial forestry that we have looked at so far, we have understood how the changes in the forest laws had an impact, a negative impact on the lives of the forest dwellers. On the other hand, it proved to be a boon for the Britishers because they could research on various varieties of trees and plants which were beneficial for them from commercial point of view. So now today I'm going to begin with the third section of this lesson, that is the rebellion in the forest. And the ending part of the video has already shown you how the village dwellers, they were losing their livelihood and there was a growing unrest among these tribal people here. So now the case study that we're going to take is from Bastar in India. Bastar is located in the Chhattisgarh state of India. Yes, Neil, you want to ask any question? Neil, you want to ask anything? You may unmute your mic and ask me the question. Okay, so now
No, ma'am.
okay, so now I'm sharing another screen with all of you. Yes, is this screen visible to everyone? Section 3,
Yes,
rebellions
ma'am.
in the forest. Yes? Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now, children, here we'll begin with one small activity because this section deals with the rebellions in the forest. Here there are 3 pictures in this particular slide. Can you tell who these people were? Birsa Munda, we know about the story of Birsa Munda.
Yes, ma'am.
Last year we have studied about his life story. And there is one more rebellion, Alluri Sitaram Raju. He was from Andhra Pradesh. And then we have Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. So these are, can you tell me who these people are?
Tribal people.
Ma'am, I think they're trying.
And especially these are the people who were the leaders, who acted as leaders for the tribal rebellions, because today is your
Tribal people who rebel.
yeah, they were the leaders of the rebellions in the tribal areas. And then now we'll proceed. I will also show you the PDF today of your lesson so that we can refer to your textbook also for understanding this lesson. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. Is this screen visible to everyone?
Yes,
Rebellions.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this
Yes, ma'am.
and if you look carefully at the map, let's first look at the map here. Map of Bastar in India. It's in the Chhattisgarh, present day Chhattisgarh state of India. It's this here. You can see an encircled place. It is known as Kangir. This is the place from where the rebellion first began in Bastar. And we'll also we can read here some more information about this district of Bastar in the year 2000. So in 1947, Bastar Kingdom merged with Kanker Kingdom and became Bastar district in Madhya Pradesh. Earlier, it was a part of Madhya Pradesh. In 1998, it was divided again into 3 districts. Kanker district, where the rebellion initially started. This is where the rebellion began. Bastar and Dantewada. In 2001, these became part of Chhattisgarh. The 1910 rebellion first started in the Kanget forest area encircled and soon spread to other parts of the state. Why I'm first showing this map to you, so that when your map work will come for your exam, at that time you should be able to mark Kanget. Okay, so now I'll show you the slide also from where I'm explaining you. I'll share it again. Yeah, now this slide is visible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now here we have a case study of Bastar we are studying. In 1910, this rebellion began. So now I have a question for all of you. Why do you think most of the tribal rebellions happened by the late 19th and the early 20th century? Why do you think it happened at that time only? Why not before that?
And because
Ma'am, before
forest,
they were not knowing about the
they had
what
no
the
idea.
British is looking after, the profits and whatever they are looking after. Later, they might have come to know after getting a little education about it.
Not only that,
Ma'am,
not
and
see
also
when
because the
things
Forest Reserve Forest Act.
yeah, the act, very good. So the main reason was the first act was enacted in the year 1865 after Dietrich Brandes came to India, and he was appointed as Inspector General for the Indian Forest Services. But then, especially in the year 1878, this division of forests was done, which was like the management of the forest. Where in the reserve forest, these tribals were completely prohibited. That's when by the late of 19th century, there was a growing unrest among the tribal people. And this is why we have more rebellions. It's just an example I'm giving you of one forest. There were thousands of rebellions in the forest happened in India during the late 19th and the 20th century. For your understanding, we are just taking one case study of the district of Bastar. And also we're going to take one more from Indonesia and Java. And it's not only in India, but it was happening all across the world, wherever forests were there and wherever countries were converted into colonies by the Europeans. Okay, so that was the reason I asked you this question. Why in the late 19th and early 20th? Because that was the time when the tribals, they started realizing the changes in their lives and how their lives were becoming more and more difficult because of the European colonies. Now, this particular map, children, you must be able to mark this in your history exam when it comes. Bastar in 2000 map work. Here, if you are asked to mark Kanker, you should be able to do it. Okay, this is Chhattisgarh. You will get this kind of a map of India. You may get an observation map also. So here is Kanker, where Bastar and Dantewada. These are the three main areas which were now converted as a one whole district of Bastar. Okay, so these are the three main areas where the rebellions happened in 1910. Okay, now we will come to the life of people in Bastar. Okay, we will first start with the geographical location of the people in Bastar. Bastar is located in the southernmost part of Chhattisgarh and borders of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, and Maharashtra. The central part of Bastar is on a plateau. Okay, I'll just quickly share your lesson screen with all of you so that you can read from your textbook also. Is it visible to everyone?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it
Okay,
is.
the people of Bastar. Bastar is located in the southernmost part of Chhattisgarh. अभी मैंने आपको मैप में दिखाया है तीनों regions. Kanker, Bastar and Dantewada. वो कहाँ थे? Southernmost part of Chhattisgarh. And borders of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Maharashtra. The central part of Bastar is on a plateau. To the north of this plateau is the Chhattisgarh plain and to its south is the Godavari plain. So you can make out that the main river that flows here is Godavari. The river Indravati, which is a tributary to the Godavari, winds across Bastar east to west. Okay, and why east to west? Because Godavari flows into the eastern side or the western side. Where does Godavari river has its delta?
Eastern.
Toward the east. Very good.
Side.
Western is not the
Eastern.
western, it is towards the east, towards the Bay of Bengal. Most of the rivers, they are starting from the east and they are flowing into the west, into the Bay of Bengal. So now this is the main geography of this region. A number of different communities live in Bastar. Now we're talking about the communities in Bastar, such as Maria and Muriagons, Dhurvas, Bhatras, and Halpas. These are the main 4 tribes in this area. Okay, what kind of language did they speak? They speak different languages but share common customs and beliefs. When we talk about the belief system of the people of Bastar, they believe that the village was given to them by this land by the earth, and in return they are supposed to look after the land. Okay, here it is mentioned here that how they will return to the earth by making some offerings and each some festival they celebrate. At that time they do some kind of there's a belief system that they follow, that they should protect the forests also. In addition to the earth, they show respect to the spirits of the river, because I have taught you in your previous class also that the tribal people don't have any caste system just like the Hindus or the even after they adopted the other religion, Christianity or any other religion. They mainly have an egalitarian society wherein they believe in some forest spirits. So here also they're talking about the spirit of the river, the spirit of the forest and the spirit of the mountain. Since each village knows. Now, there was a demarcation of the villages also in the entire area, okay, in the southernmost area of Kanker, Bastar and Dantewada. Since each village knows where its boundaries lie, the local people look after all the natural resources within that boundary. If people from a village want to take some wood from the forests of another village, they pay a small fee called Devsari Dand or man in exchange, which means they were mainly following the exchange system or barter system. There was no currency as such. The kind of trade or for things they are taking, they're paying in some other manner. Some villages also protect their forests by engaging watchmen, and each household contributes some grain to pay them. How? Like if you're taking wood from their villages, you will pay back how you'll pay, you'll give some grain from your side or some domesticated animal product. Okay, every year there is one big hunt where the headmen of the village in a pargana, which is a cluster, it's a group of village, meet and discuss issues of concern, including that of the forest, which means it is not only the forest was their motherland and they were taking care of the forests also, and there were discussions about how to take care of the forests. So this was a lifestyle of the people of Bastar. Now the second subsection of the third section deals with what happened, what was the consequence of when the colonial government, they imposed these new forest laws and acts on the tribal people. So what was the fear of the people of Bastar? When the colonial government proposed to reserve 2/3 of the forest in 1905 and stop shifting cultivation, hunting and collection of forest produce, the people of Bastar were very much worried. We have covered this part in the previous section. That means they were prohibited to enter the forest. They were prohibited to take any kind of things from the forest, especially the reserve forest. They were completely banned. They were not allowed to go. Plus, main thing which was of worry was they were not allowed to practice the jhum cultivation. Some villagers were allowed to stay on in a reserve forest on the condition that they worked for free, which means that they will not get anything in return for the forest department in cutting and transporting trees and protecting the forest from fires. Why to protect from fires? Because mostly shifting cultivation will lead to fires, and it may affect the other, if you're growing any other commercial trees, they may get burnt. So they had to give some kind of services for free. Subsequently, these came to be known as forest villages. As I told you, after 1878, there were 3 demarcations of the forests. People of other villages were displaced without any notice or compensation. They were taken out from the village without being told, and no money was given to them. For long, villages had been suffering from increased land rents and frequent demands for free labor and goods by colonial officials. Then came the terrible famines. Now there's a drought also in 1899 and 1900, and again in 1907 and 1908. Reservation proved to be the last straw. Reservation proved to be the last straw means there was certain kind of reservation meant for certain tribals to enter, which means kuch log hi chune jayenge, wo hi andar jayenge. So that was the kind of reservation the forest management imposed on the people. So this is the background to why the rebellions started in the district of Bastar. Okay, so now we have only remaining time left with us is only 5 minutes, children. So I'll quickly cover the next part of this particular paragraph, and then we will do a quick question answers round, and then I'll end this meeting. Okay, now people began to gather and discuss these issues in village councils, in bazaars, and at festivals, or wherever the headmen and priests of the several villages were assembled. Okay, so now quickly I will show you a small video on what was happening in Bastar. Are you all ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Sujal has just joined in, which is not very good. Children, please remember that you should be on time. And also, I just wanted to tell you that this weekend, your Friday, I guess, or Thursday, I have a class with you. I will be taking class test on this Google Classroom. So I will inform you how I'm going to conduct it. Am I clear here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to share the screen for all of you. Shall I play the video?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, you can ask your question.
Ma'am, I did not understand what you told now.
I just said that on the weekend, I'm going to conduct a class test on Google Classrooms. I hope
Okay,
you are, yeah, so that was it. On probably Thursday, I guess we have the class. So whichever is our, the last class of this week, on that day, I'm going to conduct the class. Okay. So now we have just 3.5 minutes left. Let's play this video.
In this module, you will learn about the rebellions in the forests against the British. Did these things, a mango bough, chilies, a lump of earth and arrows, mean anything to you? Perhaps not. However, to the people of Bastar during the year 1910, these acted as secret symbols inviting villagers to rebel against the British. There were many rebellions against the British which are remembered even till today. The rebellion in the forests of Bastar in 1910 was one such. Let's learn a little more about Bastar and the people who lived there. Bastar is located in the southernmost part of Chhattisgarh and shares its borders with Andhra Pradesh, Orissa and Maharashtra. A number of different communities live in Bastar and speak different languages, but they all have common customs and beliefs. The people of Bastar believe that land is a gift from Mother Earth to humans, and that humans should respect this gift. They look after their forests with great affection and care. An annual big hunt of a pargana or a cluster of villages is held, where the headmen of the villages discuss issues related to the forests. However, under the colonial rule, the people of Bastar were exploited for a long time. They were forced to pay higher land rents, work for free and provide free goods to government officials. They suffered even more due to the famines that hit Bastar in 1899 to 1900 and again in 1907 to 1908. The proposal of the government in 1905 to reserve 2/3 of the forest land, stop shifting cultivation, hunting and collection of forest produce was the last straw for the people of Bastar. The initiative of rebelling against the British was taken by the Durwas of the Kangar forest, which was the first forest to be reserved. Households in every village supported the rebellion by bearing its expense. One prominent name associated with these rebellions is that of Gundadur, who was a rebel leader from a village named Nethanar.
So first one was from Kanger, second is from Gundadur in Nethanar. So this is the second area.
A mass movement of destruction in the form of looting, burning of bazaars, schools and police stations, and the houses of officials and traders spread throughout Bastar. Even though the British were able to suppress the rebellion, it took them 3 months to bring the situation totally under control. The rebellion in Bastar is worth remembering, as it was a major victory for all Indians.
Okay, now children, I'm going to stop here because the